You can read hundreds of books, take countless courses, and work hard for decades, and still find yourself stuck in the same cycle without any real breakthrough in your life. Have you ever wondered how someone who barely finished school can become a millionaire, while people with degrees, intelligence, and education stay broke their entire lives? I'm living proof of that. I wasn't smart, and I had no academic background, but my life changed dramatically when I discovered something no one had ever taught me. The expansion of consciousness is the key to transforming everything. I used to believe I had to work harder, do more, and push myself further. But the more I did, the more stuck I felt, like something was holding me back no matter how hard I tried. That's when I realized the issue wasn't what I was doing. It was what I believed about myself, about money, and about life. The real issue was within, inside my consciousness. You might ask, how can my consciousness change my life? Your consciousness defines what you see, how you interpret the world, and most importantly, what you believe is possible for yourself. And what you believe is possible is exactly what you end up manifesting. I lived in debt, earning in 1 year what others made in a month, and I believe that's just how life worked. Life is hard. Money doesn't grow on trees. Only the lucky get rich. Sound familiar? How many times have you repeated those phrases in your head without realizing it? I want to make more money, but it's too hard. I want to change my life, but I don't know where to begin. I want to be happy, but something always goes wrong. These buts are the invisible limits your consciousness has programmed, and the scariest part, you don't even realize they exist. They seem like absolute truths, but they're not. They're just mental programs. That's what I discovered when my life began to shift. I was earning more money but felt unworthy of keeping it. It felt like some invisible force was pulling me backward, quietly sabotaging every step forward. For a long time, I thought something was wrong with me. But the truth is, the problem was the programming within my consciousness. You might have a positive mindset, say affirmations daily, and stick motivational quotes on your fridge. But if deep down a program says money is hard, success is not for you, and you're not enough, guess what's going to happen? You'll stay stuck right where you are, even if you give it everything you've got. Most people try to change the effects. They work harder, save more, take courses, but they never change the root cause. And that lies within. I read books, listened to tapes, attended seminars. My house was full of materials, but nothing truly shifted until I understood what consciousness is and how it shapes our reality. I'm not talking about mysticism or spirituality. I'm talking about neuroscience, subconscious conditioning, and mental paradigms. Studies from Harvard University show that more than 95% of our daily decisions are made automatically. That means your life isn't being run by your conscious intentions. It's run by a system that's been installed in you for years, often since childhood. That's why even the smartest people can stay poor, frustrated, and unfulfilled. Knowledge without a shift in consciousness is just extra weight on your bookshelf. Real transformation begins when you recognize this truth. When you ask yourself, why do I keep facing the same financial struggles even though I try to change? Why do my relationships follow the same painful patterns with different people? Because it's not your actions that need to change. It's your consciousness. And that's where true freedom begins. Why do I feel deep down like something is holding me back, even when everything on the outside seems to be going just fine? These questions can be painful, but they're the ones that open the door to real change. And I know that because I lived it myself. I remember a time when I was giving my all, working endless hours, yet my bank account kept shrinking day by day. Until one day, I stopped everything, sat in silence with a notebook, and started writing. What do I believe about money? What was I taught about success? What do I feel when I think about prosperity? The answers that came shocked me, but they also set me free. Consciousness isn't just what you think. It's what you emotionally feel as true in your inner being. If you hold a negative emotional truth about life, money, or yourself, it will keep manifesting in your reality over and over again. I compare it to a thermostat. You can open the windows, turn on the fans, bring in ice, but if it's set to 72 degrees, it will return there quickly. Your consciousness is that thermostat, and unless you reprogram it, your life will always return to the same default setting. A powerful real-life example is Oprah Winfrey. Born in extreme poverty, abused, discriminated against, and overlooked. But one day, she changed what she believed about herself, expanded her consciousness, and now she's one of the wealthiest and most influential women on earth. She didn't change the outside world first. She transformed her inner world, and everything else began to align from there. That's why I say your life changes when your awareness expands, not when you have more money, or when someone saves you, or when the system improves. Transformation begins when you stop accepting as truth the things you never consciously chose to believe in the first place. Take time today to write down what you believe about money, love, success, and yourself. Then ask, is this true or just something I've heard enough times to believe it? The answer may not come right away, but when it does, it will change everything. Because you are not just a body and not just a mind. You are a spiritual being, equipped with intellect, living in a physical body. I first heard that in a seminar, and it stopped me in my tracks. Not because the words were impressive, but because deep inside I knew it was true. No one had ever explained it to me that way before. Most people live fragmented. They think one thing, feel another, and act in total opposition, and then wonder why nothing works out. Have you ever felt like that? That inner disconnection is behind most failure, frustration, and even illness. People wake up in conflict. They want to quit their job, but feel scared. They want to start a business, but stay frozen. They want to change, but repeat the same patterns. Why? Because they don't understand how they're built. No one taught them how to align the mind, body, and spirit as one. Consciousness grows when you realize these three must work together. Your thought creates an image, emotion gives it life, and your body acts it out. But when they're not in harmony, nothing flows. How many times have you imagined doing something great, but froze when it was time to act? How often has your body resisted what your mind wanted? Or you felt excited about an idea, and days later the feeling was just gone? That's because your spirit, the part of you that wants to grow, evolve, and create, is not being heard. And that's where it all begins. The noise of fear, doubt, insecurity, and outside judgment has drowned out your intuition. And without that inner voice, you act with only part of yourself, or not at all. That's exactly what I experienced for years. On the surface, it seemed like I was doing well. I spoke about prosperity, taught transformation, helped people. But inside, something kept whispering, "You're disconnected." Despite outer success, I felt an inner conflict. I thought about growth, but I felt resistance. Often my body simply wouldn't move, as if some invisible brake was holding me back. That brake only disappeared when I aligned thought, emotion, and action. That is integrity, not in a moral sense, but as internal coherence and unity within yourself. Let me bring this closer to your reality. Imagine someone decides to lose weight. They set the goal, lose weight. That's the thought. But what do they feel? Exhaustion, frustration, resistance before even starting. Their body feels the emotion and continues to behave according to old habits. They say they want change, but their mind and body are not in harmony. The result? They give up. Now picture the opposite. Michael Phelps, the most decorated Olympian in history. He didn't get there just by training hard. He visualized each stroke, felt the victory before hitting the water. His body swam, but his awareness had already won. It was a natural extension of the alignment between mind, feeling, and spirit. That's what full integration looks like. You live on 3 levels: physical, mental, and spiritual. You can't keep living only through the body. You can't expect change by just thinking positively while feeling afraid. And you can't ignore your spirit. When you live only in the physical realm, everything feels heavy. Making money, maintaining relationships, finding happiness. But when you access spiritual awareness, everything shifts in vibration. Have you ever wondered why some people seem light, even in the face of challenges? It's because they've learned to align their layers. They think, feel, and act in the same direction. Now reflect with me. What are you doing today that's in conflict with what you truly feel? What actions have you taken that don't reflect your real self? How many decisions have you delayed waiting for a sign when the sign has actually been inside you all along? When your thoughts, emotions, and actions align, fear fades, clarity grows, and results become inevitable. But it all begins with expanding your awareness, truly understanding that you are not here just to survive, but to express the greatest version of what already exists within you. And you can only express that when you live in full alignment with yourself. Pause now for a moment. Breathe deeply. Ask yourself, what do I truly want? Is it a truth I feel or just a distant wish? Are my current actions moving me toward that desire or further away from it? Honest self-reflection like this can be the start of an entirely new life, and maybe the first time you truly live as the person you were born to be. There's an invisible force behind every decision, habit, and action you take. And no, it's not chance. It's your paradigm, a deep, old, and silent mental program powerful enough to control your whole life without you even realizing it. When I understood that, everything began to make sense. There was a time when I felt trapped in a never-ending cycle. No matter how much I studied, planned, or worked hard, nothing really changed. Every time I tried to move forward, something unseen seemed to pull me back, like I wasn't the one truly in control of my own path. Eventually, I realized that this something was a mental program, a set of beliefs, habits, and emotional patterns embedded in my subconscious since childhood. And the shocking part, most of it didn't even come from me. It came from my parents, school, religion, culture, and the society I grew up in. Chances are you've also heard things like, money is dirty, rich people won't go to heaven, or study, work hard, and retire with dignity. These didn't sound like opinions. They felt like universal truths, and you accepted them without question, without ever stopping to challenge them. But now I ask you, did those beliefs help you? Did they set you free, or did they trap you inside an invisible box you didn't even know was there? I used to repeat to myself every day that I wanted to earn more, grow, and help others. But no matter how much I wanted it, the results never followed. That's when I realized wanting isn't enough. I had to reprogram my inner paradigm. It's like an autopilot that keeps steering you to the same destination. Maybe you've been there. You make exciting plans, get pumped for a few days, start changing, and then something happens. You sabotage it all. You lose momentum, get discouraged, give up, then you start over. Again. That's not your fault. It's your paradigm running the show. It works through your subconscious, which, unlike your conscious mind, can't tell the difference between what's real and what's imagined. And it never rejects anything. I met a man once who told me, "Bob, I want to change my life, but every time I start something new, everything goes wrong." I looked at him and said, "You're not failing. You're just going back to your old programming." He began to cry because for the first time, he felt seen. No matter how hard he tried, it was like he kept hitting the same wall over and over again. I've been there too. I had an invisible limit on how much I let myself earn, and once I reached it, I'd start to destroy everything unconsciously. I kept asking myself, am I afraid of success? Do I secretly believe I don't deserve more? The answer always came back to one thing: my paradigm. And it's not just me saying this. Modern psychology confirms that over 90% of our behaviors are automatic, that is, unconscious. Harvard psychologist Gerald Zaltman said that most human decisions are made without conscious, rational input. We act without even realizing it. That proves what I've said for decades. Your life is not ruled by your conscious thoughts. It's controlled by what's programmed deep inside your subconscious. And here's the dangerous part. Your paradigm also distorts your self-image. It convinces you that this is just who I am. I'm not made for that. I don't have enough talent. I don't have time. I'm too old. I don't have the money. But all of that is just programming you've been conditioned to believe. Do you want to know why so many smart and talented people still fail, even with all the tools? Because they never rewired their paradigm. Jim Carrey, for example, once lived out of a car when he was in extreme poverty. But he wrote himself checks for millions of dollars, visualized them, felt them, and believed it with all his heart. He reprogrammed what he believed was possible, and that completely redirected the course of his internal GPS. Now take the opposite example, Mike Tyson. One of the greatest boxers in history. He earned hundreds of millions of US dollars and was admired all over the world. But his paradigm never changed. What he believed about himself deep inside led him straight to self-destruction. Drugs, prison, bankruptcy, all of that happened because, despite outer success, he still carried the same inner patterns of trauma, pain, and scarcity. That's why I always say, the paradigm is stronger than logic. You can have the perfect plan, a brilliant idea, a powerful strategy. But if your paradigm isn't aligned with that vision, it will sabotage everything. Real-life transformation doesn't come from effort. It begins with inner reprogramming. And to do that, you need to start by identifying what's running automatically inside you. Today, I want to give you something practical. Grab a sheet of paper and write down everything you heard growing up about money, success, love, and work. Then read them one by one and ask yourself, does this belief liberate me or limit me? If it limits you, then it's time to replace it. And yes, you can do it, because you're not what you were programmed to be. You are who you choose to become, the moment you become aware of it. That's where true freedom begins. Everything in the universe vibrates. All things are energy in motion, including you, including your thoughts, including the money you want to attract into your life. The powerful truth that few people realize, and that transforms lives when it's understood, is that the frequency you vibrate at determines what you attract. And that frequency is determined by your level of consciousness. The level at which you operate each day creates a vibration. And that vibration acts like a magnet that never misses, a magnet that doesn't forgive, a magnet that attracts everything that is in harmony with it. I remember when I first started studying this principle, I had already read about the law of attraction, positive thinking, and visualizing the ideal future. But still, no results came, until one mentor told me, "Bob, you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are." That hit me like a punch in the stomach because deep down I knew I was trying to look prosperous, but inside I was vibrating in lack. I was speaking words of abundance, but I was feeling fear, and the universe doesn't respond to your words. It responds to the emotional frequency behind your words. Vibration isn't something you turn on or off consciously. It's a reflection of your inner state, and that state comes directly from the image you hold in your subconscious mind. If that image is filled with failure, fear, or limitation, no matter how much you desire the opposite, your dominant vibration will remain the same and shape your reality. And you'll keep attracting people, events, and situations that reflect that programming until you change the image from within. There was still something inside me that carried the fear of failure. And that fear, no matter how small, vibrated louder than any positive affirmation I could say. Until I stopped trying to control only what was on the surface and began to change the image I held within. I started to see, feel, and genuinely believe in a new version of myself. And that's when everything began to shift from the inside out. The body is merely the instrument, the channel through which vibration expresses itself. The origin is always in the mind. The body only acts according to the frequency the mind commands. When that frequency changes, so do behavior, decisions, actions, and of course, results. This isn't a theory. This is science. Quantum physics has already proven that the observer influences the observed reality. Particles behave differently depending on the observer's expectation and awareness. This means the way you see the world changes the world you live in, but to see differently, you have to feel differently, and that requires a shift in your vibration. Vibration doesn't lie. You can tell yourself everything is fine, but the universe doesn't respond to what you say. It responds to what you emit. Think of someone who always seems to effortlessly attract good things. Then think of someone constantly stuck in struggle. The difference is almost never effort. It's the frequency they operate on. I remember a woman in one of my trainings. She claimed to want success, abundance, and prosperity, yet every time someone else achieved something, she reacted with jealousy, judgment, or mistrust. I asked her, "How do you expect to attract what you reject in others?" She went silent, and in that moment she realized her block wasn't a lack of knowledge. It was an unconscious vibration of resistance toward the very thing she claimed to desire. When your vibration aligns with gratitude, love, and enthusiasm, you become a magnet for experiences that match those emotions. But if your vibration is filled with fear, frustration, or guilt, guess what you'll attract? It's really that simple. That's why I invite you to try this for 7 days. For just 7 mornings, choose one specific feeling: peace, joy, or enthusiasm. Take a deep breath and feel that emotion in your body as if it's already real. Act as if it's guiding you. Respond to challenges as if that emotion is in charge. And watch what begins to change, because things will shift. A steady, high vibration can transform your energy, your relationships, your health, even your financial life. It shifts your perception, and when your perception changes, your reality does too. Remember this: you don't attract what you want, you attract what you vibrate, and vibration always follows consciousness. You don't change your life by trying to change your life. You change your life by changing your consciousness. The outer world is just a mirror of the inner one. As long as your inner image stays the same, the outer reflections won't change. When you understand this, you stop fighting the effects and start transforming the cause. And if something lit up inside you while hearing this, then you're ready to take the next step. The video showing on your screen now will take you even deeper on this journey. Click it and come with me. It will expand your awareness and help you become 1% better than you are right now. Thank you for being here. I'll see you in the next video.